Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully all of you are doing well out there. I'm, of course, your host, World Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the T1 Heavy, which is currently the most overpowered tech tree Tier 5 you can get your hands on, and honestly, one of the most overpowered vehicles tier for tier in the game. Now, the reason for that being is the T1 Heavy has always been a decent Tier 5 heavy tank. It had good frontal armor, it has a decent gun, the aiming time kind of lets it down, same for the dispersion at .407, that is truly awful. But the thing about the vehicle that has always been good and been buffed recently is the frontal armor. It is now 140 millimeters thick on the frontal hull, and the same for the turret. Now that means that let's just get out some random tier 5 vehicles. The T67, which actually, funny enough, was one of the most overpowered tier 5 vehicles at its time, but this vehicle, 128 millimeters is standard pen. The T25, a German, 116 millimeters is standard pen. The Matilda, a Russian tank, 110. Even the BDR, which has some of the best pen at tier 5, 135 millimeters. Yeah, you can see why the T1 Heavy's frontal armor is so impressive. Now, it does have a weak lower plate that you can penetrate if you're aiming at the correct bar, or the hinges at the bottom kind of connect, but still, the fact that you're able to have so much armor on a tier 5 vehicle is crazy. Not only that, has 10 degrees of gun depression, 30 degrees of gun elevation, crazy on that. That means you can practically aim all the way up and shoot anybody above you, but it's also got good mobility. It goes 35 kilometers per hour forward, good traverse speed, not necessarily the best traverse speed, but it's still good enough to get in the position. And when you're in a vehicle like this against tier 4 opponents, yeah, you can start to feel bad for them. So this is a vehicle that's pretty much used for seal clubbing, which of course I don't really approve myself. I feel that if you want to show your stats and you want to improve your win rate, don't play a tier 5, play a tank that you actually know how to play, learn how to play the game. Don't just play tier 5 for 15,000 games like some people do. And yeah, there's not much I can say about that. If you enjoy playing tier 5, then I guess that's up to you. But we are going to be enjoying our tier 5 battles here. While we do get a couple of them every now and then out on the channel, we've been doing what? We did the Panzer IV, the tank destroyer, and as well we did the Nightmare. Well, the Nightmare was quite a bit of time. I don't remember what the other one we did actually was, but ooh, that actually hurts quite a bit. You can see that, yeah, the BDR, lower loading premium rounds can penetrate through the frontal track wheel on this vehicle. It's actually a very big weak spot, and as well there, again, that frontal track wheel being a massive weak spot. That was my fault, actually. I can say I don't run tier 5 too much, so that was my fault on exposing my frontal armor like that. So let's back up here. Trying not to get hit is usually a better idea than getting hit. I'm not really making it seem good right now, am I? But to be fair, those are all top tier 5 heavy tanks, extremely deadly ones at that you gotta be very careful of when you are playing against them. So we got the T1 Heavy on the enemy team. Let's load a premium shell, and there you go. Nice tap right into that lower plate we were aiming for, of course. That's really the only spot you can penetrate. You can see we did get 2 bounces on the upper superstructure, and that's of course where the armor is stupid thick. It really gets a lot of bounces there. So let's see if we can get a shell into that BDR. Well, yeah, there's that lower plate I did say. So our armor is not working well currently. The enemy team is just knowing where our weak spots are, which of course in the long run is going to make my armor very weak. So let's try and angle it out correctly here. There you go. Nice bounce on that frontal track, and hopefully we're going to be able to push up here, maybe get out some bigger shells onto the KV1. We've got 10 degrees of gun depression, which is very nice. So let's push up here, get a shell into the side of the KV1. I can definitely tell you I am not doing a good job seal clubbing in this tier 5 heavy, but we're going to try our best and see if we can get out some more damage. So we got that KV1 once again. Oh boy, back up before he's able to pen us. Perfect, getting that bounce just like you want it to. So that's of course where that frontal armor is super duper strong. Let's aim at that BDR's cupola. Ooh, that thing's actually got a very thick cupola, I can tell you that. So let's back up here. The BDR is not looking at me anymore. Of course, when you don't have the most hit points, you got to be very careful. But yeah, we're doing a pretty solid job. And with the decent DPM this vehicle does have, we're going to be able to get one more shell right into the, or I guess not, but that is pretty dang good in general. Look at that gun elevation. That's actually crazy how high this tank can aim up. Now let's get a nice shell into you, and the Nightmare shooting a high explosive shell at our frontal armor. But of course, you can't take out the T1 Heavy's front because it's got such thick armor as it is. So wasn't necessarily the best game, only about 1500 damage. But again, we were able to literally sit out in front of the enemy, bounce about half the shells we still received, and while we did get penetrated in the lower plate, while we did overexpose our track wheels, which was my personal wrongdoing, you can definitely see what makes the tank so strong. So let's do one more battle here, see if we can keep up that good luck. Excelsiors exceptionally have very weak penetration in tier 5, so I really want to play with them. They're going to have to load premium if they want to pen me. And yeah, this is kind of like the IS-4 at tier 5, should I say. It's just good at everything. The side armor on this vehicle is actually so thick, in fact, that you cannot penetrate it with a KV2 with high explosive, fully side on. Yeah, pretty crazy when you do think about that and break it down for a second. So let's see what we can do here. And I will say, originally the M5, God, I was thinking about the M6 because this is kind of based off an M6 chassis. But the T1 Heavy and the M6 used to have extremely weak side armor, like so weak that a KV2 could easily penetrate right through that front, no problems whatsoever. But nowadays, yeah, Wargaming has buffed these tanks a little bit too much, in my opinion. They're overcooked by quite a bit on that frontal armor. So it looks like the the agent off to the side has not spotted anybody over there. I'm going to be careful. I am going to push up, and I have been spotted, which is not necessarily the best for me, but we're going to push off to the side here. Oh, that's not fun. Okay, well, that's an AT-8. The AT-8, while it is not necessarily the most mobile of tanks, is still extremely deadly in the capabilities it does have in a Tier 5 battle. So we got the Nightmare who did just fire. We're hopefully going to be able to peek and get a nice little shot right to the lower plate of him. We got the T-25 as well right here. Let's go aiming on the AT-8, though. Let's see if we can get some shells right on his cupola. A little bit of a bounce there, sadly. It looks like that AT-8 is actually stock, which is not terrible for us. So let's try that. Oh, come on. Those shells are going exactly where I don't want them to. Quite funny on that, but we got the Nightmare pushing off to the side here, who, again, is pushing very aggressive, and he actually did penetrate a heat shell on the weak spot of that lower plate, as I did say, but at the same time, this Nightmare, yeah, he's going to be living in a nightmare very soon, because we are going to be able to tap a very nice shell right into him. There you go, that frontal armor, getting that bounce you love, and perfect shells finishing off the Nightmare. Not really sure what that guy was expecting to do to me, but I can tell you it didn't go too well. So let's push back up this hill here, use our 10 degrees of gun depression we do have, and try and actually hit the weak spot on that AT-8. I do know that he's running the stock gun, so let's try this again here. Let's aim in on that weak spot, and let's fire. There you go, finally penetrating that weak spot. We kept hitting that little gunner port in front of him, which of course is not where we're running the aim. Let's aim in there again, nice little penetration. So you can see that we are easily ripping apart this guy to shreds, and let's keep aiming in on that roof spot. There you go, another penetration, and this AT-8, the funny part is literally cannot penetrate me whatsoever. So let's go for another pot shot. There you go, and we should be able to get one more in by the time this agent's able to do that. Let's fire one more at his weak spot right on the roof. Ooh, just missing by an inch, but the agent hopefully is gonna be able to finish him off. There you go, and we're still in the running of this battle. So while that Nightmare was able to get a very big heat shell right into the lower plate, as I did say, the lower part of this vehicle is the weakest spot. We've still done a pretty solid job as it was so far, and now we've got to push on vehicles like the Y5 T-34, which actually, in my opinion, is one of the strongest Tier 5 vehicles currently in the game. The Y5 is such a good medium tank. I actually really do enjoy running it when I do run Tier 5, you know, occasionally, every now and then. You got to have some fun. And the Y5 really is a super, super strong vehicle. Now, I got to be careful at the same time against the Jagdpanzer IV, an extremely deadly Tier 6 tank destroyer, which will be getting buffed in the next 7.4 update. It will turn me into Swiss cheese, I'll put it like that. So we're going to push up here, see if we can get out some damage. Hopefully that Jagdpanzer is not camping in the back, because you will see me, turn into a very grisly demise very, very soon. So let's aim in on the T-25. Let's get a nice shell into the side. There is that Jagdpanzer IV, as I did say. Got to be very careful of him. Let's turn our vehicle to the side here. Oh, that's not good, but hopefully the Jagdpanzer, which is camping in the back, is not going to be able to get a shell into me. There he is, to be exact. Let's load in a premium shell and actually aim right for his vehicle. Got to love that frontal armor, once again getting a fantastic bounce on the tank. The Jagdpanzer having to fix his tracks there after being shot, and of course the great thing about the Jagdpanzer is you can shoot right into the frontal armor, and usually it kills the engine. So we're going to push up aggressive. Why not? There's no point not to. I couldn't care less about my stats in Tier 5. But the great thing is, you can see just how aggressive you can be in a T1 Heavy, just how stupid the armor is. It's literally impervious to turret rounds, I can say. As long as, you know, the Jagdpanzer doesn't fire premium at our turret. I still think even with premium, it's a very, very tricky penetration. So that's great. The frontal armor is really something else on this vehicle. It's got stupid gun depression, crazy gun elevation, as you can see here. And of course, we're going to be pushing right off to the side of this guy. Get a nice snap right into the side, once again damaging that engine, as I did say. That thing has literally no engine. Let's go for that track wheel. Ooh, there's the engine again. Every time you shoot that thing, it just damages the engine. It's quite funny, but that was a 1,706 damage game. Did a pretty solid job there on damage ourselves. Actually, 1,900. Looks like we got a lot of ramming damage as well. Did we get a fire? I'm not sure about that, but still very, very healthy on the damage. You can definitely see that the T1 Heavy is quite overpowered. It is a 60% average win rate, and yeah, it's really, really a seal clubbing tank. So if you want to have some fun in Tier 5, you know what? Try it out. Never hurts to try, but in my personal opinion, I wouldn't suggest to spam it, because of course it stops newer players from learning how to play the game and as well continue their way up to tier 10. And of course, I want to see newer players join this game to continue the long, the idea of the game continuing on forever, because this game obviously isn't going to last forever, but to make it last as long as it possibly can is my idea in Blitz, and I love the community as it is. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But other than that, hopefully all of you are doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.